Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in the last video we looked at how to build the second page of our AI chatbot UI, right? And in this particular video we'll be looking at how to build the final page of this project. So let's get right into it. And this is what we've been working on so far. In the last video we created this speak to AI page, and in this particular one, chat with AI page. So let's quickly create that page, and I'm going to call it chat with AI page. So this page is going to be a stateless widget, and we are going to call it chat with AI page, and it's going to return a scaffold. So scaffold like this, right? And so how do we get to this particular page? In the last video we used these cards to navigate to the speak to AI page. So when we click on this, we go to this page, right? And in this particular one, we want to use the list styles to navigate to the chat with AI page. So clicking on any of these list styles should take us to the page we want to design. So let's go back to the home page. So home page, and this is where we have our list styles, right? And in the on tab we want to navigate, so navigator.push, and then passing the material page route, and the builder would have the speak not speak chat with AI page like this. So when we click on this should take us to a new page, right, which is the page we want to work on. Now if we look at the design, we realize that the speak to AI page is speaking to AI bot, and then chat with AI bots have almost the same bar, right? Just the text changing. So I'll go to the speak to AI page, which is this page which we designed in the last video. If you haven't watched it, you can go and then look at it. So I'm going to copy this bar from here and then come to the chat with AI page and paste it. And because we have an app bar here, we can't use const. And now when we click on any of the list styles, it says speaking to AI bot. So let's change the title to what we have in the design, which is chat with AI bot. So chat with AI bot, right? And there's the page we are going to work on. So let's look at the design and try to break it down. So in this design, realize that we have a text field which the user can maybe enter a message, and then we have another portion of it which is going to display the messages. So there are two primary components here: a portion where we display all the chats, and the second portion which is where we send the chats, right, which is this text field. One thing to note over here is that in most chat apps you would want the portion where you are displaying the chat to be scrollable. So this is going to be some sort of a scrollable widget, and this has to be fixed on the page because you wouldn't want to scroll away the text area as well. So this is what we are going to work on. With this basic breakdown, let's see what our body will look like. So within the body, we are going to have a column with some children, and then the first child of this column will be maybe some list view which is scrollable, right? And then we are going to have our text form field, and so this is going to be basically the body. Now let's first start with the text form field. So text form field is a widget we can use to create an input field, and when I use text form field, you realize that it's a first thing over here. It's a starting, right? And already there are a lot of issues, padding, starting the edges of the screen. It's not the design we want, right? We are going to look at all that, but what we want is that we want this text form field to always be at the bottom. So we want the list view, which is the scrollable section, always to take all the space that is left after we've placed the text form field at the bottom. To go over it, we want the list view to take all the available space, which is like 90% of the screen, and then want the text form field to take the remaining part. So in order to achieve that, let's have our list view here. Now as soon as I put a list view there, like everything disappears because there is an error on this page. And the error, if I open the running app in the console, you will see that we have some error saying that vertical viewpoint has been given an unbounded height. So let me try scrolling to the top to see the error message itself. Yeah, so the relevant error causing widget was the list view, right? All that is happening in case you have a list view within a column and everything disappears is that there is no constraint. So if you look at the error very well, and if I minimize this, right, you see something related to constraint about it. So constraint, box constraint 0.0 less than, height is infinity, blah blah blah. What they are trying to tell you is that you want this portion to be scrollable, right? Whenever you have a scrollable widget, there should be some kind of boundary defined for the scrollable widget. What part of the UI should be scrollable? And in our case, we want only the upper part to be scrollable. But when the list view is within a column, it doesn't know, like, should only this part be scrollable, or this part, or this part, or this. It doesn't know how big it should be, right? There should be dimensions defined for scrollable widgets, if that makes sense. So the whole idea is that whenever you have a scrollable widget, there should be this kind of dimension defined for the scrollable widget. One easy way we can fix this is to wrap the widget in something called expanded. And when I open this, good. So when I hot restart and then go back to the page, realize that we no longer have any error in the console, but then we have an issue again. It's like we can't see our list view and we can't also see our text form field. It's not like we can't see the text form field is here, just at the bottom here, but you can see that it is way below in the screen, right? And if you are familiar with Flutter and building UIs a bit, you should know that the solution to this is safe area. So I'm going to wrap this in a safe area, and that should fix the issue. One more issue we have is that the text form field, it's starting from the edge of the screen, which is something we don't want. If you look at the UI we are trying to replicate, there is padding over here. So we need to have some sort of padding. And I'm going to wrap this column with a padding widget and give it a padding all around of 16. Not here, so here 16. Right. And that seems to fix the issue a bit for us. Right. So now we have some kind of space here. Now let's style the text form field. So what we are going to do is that first, within the text form field, there is a pretty called field, and it's not just within the text form field, it's within a decoration. So decoration takes input decoration, and then there is a pretty called field, and we can set it to true. What that means is that we just want the text form field to have a background color. And I want to remove this underline from the text field. So in order to do that, there is a field called border, and then we can set this border to an outlined input border, right? And what that is going to do is that it's now going to create a border all around the input field. But that is not exactly what we want. We want to have no border at all. So within this outlined input border, we can use the border side property and then set it to border side dot none. What that means is that we don't want any border around the input. The last thing we are looking for in terms of styling is the border radius. So if you look at the design, the border radius of this input, and if I zoom out here, right, this is the input, right? And the border radius is different from what we have. So let's try and get a nice border radius for this, and we can do that from the border. So border outline input border, there is a field called border radius, and then we can set it to border radius maybe dot circular, and then passing a value of 14, any value should be okay, and we would have to move cons from somewhere here, right? So that's going to create us this border radius. And now we need to have some kind of icons on the left and then right, and Flutter has done well to provide us an easy way to do that. So what we are looking for is prefix icon, and you can use an icon button or a normal icon. In this particular case, I'm just going to use an icon, but if you want these buttons to receive events like click, like you want users to click on it, then it's advisable to use an icon button for this. So I'm going to use icons.link for this, which is going to give me an icon at the prefix of this input. Now if you want an icon at the right side, which is suffix, we are going to use suffix icon and then set it to I don't like the default material mic icon, so I'm going for continuous icon.mic, and then that's going to give us this mic icon. Now we need some kind of a hint in this input, so I'm going to use hint text and then set it to type your message, maybe something like this. And if you look at the design, we are slowly getting there. The icons are not the same, right? But then it's almost the same UI. I don't want us to install any additional package just for the icon. And you can also copy exactly this background color, 232729, and use it as the background color for this particular input. So I'm going to copy this, and you can set it as the filled color if I'm sure about this. Yeah, fill color, and then set it to this, so 0xff, and I'm going to paste the color I copied, right? And that is going to change the color. That is if you want to change the color. Also, if you realize that all your input fields are going to have this type of filled color and they are going to be filled, you can do that at the theme level, so you don't have to be repeating fill color, border. Like you can do all this at the theme level so that you have a uniform input field across your entire app. So that should be all for our input field. Now the next thing we are going to focus on is this list view. Now within this list view, we are not going to just use any list view like just the normal list view, but we are now going to use list view.separated. And this list view.separated has a lot of things we have to supply to it. So the first thing is item count, which is the number of items, let's say messages, you want to display in this particular case. So for now, I'm going to just put 2 there because I want to display just 2 messages. Item builder, if you have used list view.builder, is the same as the item builder within that. Is the widget you want to return for this particular list view. So I want to return just a text for now, which says maybe message index like this. And then the separator builder is how you want to separate the items within this list view builder, right? Which is within this item builder. So separator builder will just put, let's say, a gap. Mostly that's what you would like to do, a gap between the widgets within the list view. So separator builder, and I want to just return a sizer box, right, with some kind of a height. So let's say height of 10, or maybe 20 should be good, right? And now when we save, we have message 0, message 1, just like this. In order to design this message UI, we realize that we have 2 types of messages. We have a message which is just text, and then it has different styles. We have the border radius is different. If you look around, you see that the border radius, they are not the same. Like this part is different. Also, we have a message which has a media, right? So the image is there, and then it has some kind of a caption. If you look at it from another point of view, we can see that we have a message generated by human and one generated by bot, right, which is the AI. So the messages on the left are generated by the bot. So they have this thumbs up, thumbs down, and then copy button. And then they also have a different border radius. So if you look at this, the border radius is like the opposite of this one. You understand? So in order to create something like this, we need to have a structure for what you want to build. In order to create a structure like this, we are going to use a model. So we are going to create a model to represent what a message is. So when we say message, what are we talking about? Right? There should be some kind of a structure of a message. So let's create a directory, which is a folder, and then name it maybe models or entities, anyhow you like to call it. I'm going to call my entities, and then I'm going to create a file called message. Now within this message file, this is where we are going to shape what a message looks like. When we talk of a message, what is a message? So class message, which is going just to be a class, we are going to say that every message will have some kind of type, right? Because we need to know if the message is a message, just a text, or is some kind of a media message, right? Did the AI generate just a text or a picture with some kind of a caption? So we are going to have type. But then what is type? When we say type, we don't want to use string to represent the type, like maybe a string which is media or text or something. So I'm going to create an enum called message type. And this message type would either be a text or maybe media. Let me put it media. You can call it anything you want. And now the type will be of type message type. So when we ask ourselves, what is the type of this message? It references to either being a text, which is just a normal text on the right, or something that has media. Now, when a message is sent, we have two senders over here, either the AI or the human. So I'm also going to create an enum for that. So enum message sender, not status, which is going to be either a user or a bot. You can put it anyhow you want. I'm just going to make it bot or human, right? And then we are going to have sender as well. So message sender, which is going to be sender like this. And the next thing is that every message can have either some kind of a media attached to it. That is, if the type is media, then we are assuming that it's going to have some kind of a media. If the type is text, then it should have some kind of a text. And if the type is media, then the text associated with the message is the caption of the message. So if you look at the UI, realize that if the type of this message is media like this, then any text associated with it is the caption of that particular text. If the message is just of type text, then it means it doesn't have any media associated with it. So in order to come up with something like this, first we need to have a string, which is the text, and this is optional because there could be a message that only has an image but then no text attached to it, like in this case. Therefore the text should be optional. Also, we can have a message that doesn't have any media attached to it, just like a message with a type of text. It doesn't have any media attached to it. So what I did was I set this also to an optional field and then called it media URL. You can call it image URL. You can call it anything you want. So this defines what a message is. This particular class defines what a message is. Now let's require this in our constructor. So I'm going to generate named argument constructor like this. And I want to have some kind of dummy messages to work with. So I'm going to create a directory here called data. And then I'm going to create a file called messages. And then I'm going to have a list of type message called messages. And that's going to be an empty list for now. Let me import message, which is our type. And we are going to have message like this. So for every message, there should be the type of that particular message and then the sender of that particular message. These are the required fields, right? So in this particular case, I'm going to set the type to message type. So message type.text, and then the sender of the first message is going to be the human. So message sender.human. And we need to add some kind of text. So if you are building a raw chat app, obviously in the UI you prevent the user from sending empty text. Like there shouldn't be a way to send an empty text. So for now, we are just going to supply the text because we're only focusing on the UI. I'm going to copy this text here from the UI and then add it as the text for this message. Now you're going to have another message, so I'm going to copy this and then duplicate. The type is going to be a message that has media attached to it. Now when the message has media attached to it, the text on it is the caption of that particular message. So that's the whole idea. Now the sender for this particular message is going to be the bot, message type the bot, and then we are going to look for the text here. So I'm going to copy this text here like this. And last thing we need to add, if it is a message type of media, then there has to be some kind of an image URL, a media URL. That's how I called it. So let me quickly go to Unsplash to get an image of a beach, because that's what this conversation was about. So maybe beach, and we can get this one. So copy image address, and I'm going to minimize this and paste it here. Right, so that's going to be our two messages that we work with. Now back to the chat with AI page where we are looping. Our item count shouldn't be 2, but it should rather be the number of messages we have. So messages dot length. Right, and there's nothing that will change because the item count over here is still 2. If you look at messages, we just have 2 items here. Right, we don't want to return a text. We just don't want to return a text. We want to return some kind of a complex UI, right? So this, which is this chat bubble, or this, which is a little bit complex, and we don't want to put it here. Like it can't fit here, right? There will be too much code here that it will be difficult to, read. So we need to create separate widgets for this, and I'm going to call this widget. So let me just come here to widgets. I'm going to call this widgets. The first one is going to be text message, right, which is just a message that has only text. So it's going to be a stateless widget called text message, and for now we are going to return just container and material and right. And we're also going to create one for media message. Media message. And that's also going to be a stateless widget called media message. And then we are going to have container. Like this. So when we come to chat with AI page, right, we need to render either a message that has media or a message that has text based on the type of the message, right? So in order to do that, what we have to do is that we need to have some kind of a check, right, on each instance of message. So if we get any single message that is being passed to this item builder, what is the type? Is it a message that has media or just a message with text? So I'm going to get the message we are looping, the current message we are looping over, which is messages index, and that is going to give me this current message, which is the current message we are looping over. Now we have to check whether this particular message has a type of text or media, right? So I'm going to make a simple check over here. So message dot type is equal to message type dot text. Then it means you want to return a text message, right? So text message. Else we want to return a media message like this. Now we need to, so message dot type not text, right? So we need to pass this particular message to the text message as well as the media message so that it displays the particular message the way it wants to display it. So let's require the message over here. So final message, and let me add this field as required. So I'm going to just copy this, go to media message, add it here, import, and then add required field like this. And now if we come here, we need to pass the message. So message is our message. And when we come to media message, you have to also pass in the message like this. Right. Good. Now let's work on the text message first. We'll come back to this page to do one or two things, but let's work on the text message first. So within the text message, we have a container. Now if you look at this UI, realize that we have some kind of a box, and then we have a text within this box, which is a good use case for a container, right? One thing to that I realize about the messages is that they have some kind of a maximum width, so the messages are not going full screen. So we need to set a max width on the container. So what we are going to do is that within this container, we are going to first have not padding. We have padding, but the first we are looking for is constraints, and then box constraint. So if you want to set some kind of a maximum width, you don't want to use a definite height or width, then you're looking for the constraint. So within the constraint, you can set the maximum width for this particular text message, which is each instance of a text message, should be maybe 75% of the user's screen width, right? You want a message to have a maximum width of like 75%, and we can create a size variable here, which is media query dot size of context, which is just going to give us size properties. So size dot width, which is going to be the user's full screen width, times 0.75, which is going to be 75% of the user's screen. Now the child, in order to see what we are doing, let's put a child there, and the child is going to be a text, and within this text we are going to have our message.text. But remember that message.text is optional, so in this particular case we have to tell that we are 100% sure message.text will be there. So message.text, and we have a first message on our screen, although we have some kind of issues, but I think it's okay. We don't have any background color, so we can't really see what is going on. So let's have decoration, box decoration, and then within this box decoration, I first want to have a color. So color is going to be the color on this particular message, right? For now I'm just going to leave it as colors dot maybe black, and not the color I meant background color. So color, which is not going to be colors dot black, but then it's going to be this particular color. So let me copy this, right? And there's the same color we use in our theme for our primary color. You can use that, but I'm just going to copy this and then put it there. So color, and then 0xff, paste the color I just copied. So this is what we are going to have. Good. This is what we have. It doesn't look so good, but we are getting there, right? And you can also use the primary color. So you can create a variable here and be theme.of context, and then over here do something like theme.color scheme. So we need to move the cons from here. Theme.color scheme.primary, which is like a darker version of what I just copied, but still gets the work done. And then when we come to the text, we can say that our style, text style, the color we want is going to be theme.colorscheme.onPrimary, which is Flutter should give us a color that looks good on our primary color, which is this dark color. And the next thing we want to do is that we want to have some kind of a padding, right? So I'm going to use the padding property within the container, and then give it a pattern all around of 12. And lastly, we need some kind of a border radius. So border radius, we are still within the decoration, so you can see border radius is going to border radius dot only, because we want to give specific border radius to each border. So if you look at the UI, and if I can get this, realize that the border radiuses are not the same across the UI, like they are different, right? So this maybe this are the same, but then this is different. So in order to achieve something like that, I'm going to use border radius dot only and give top left a border radius of maybe circular and passing the specific values, maybe 18. That is going to be the border radius for the top, and then can be assigned to type radius. So radius dot circular, and it will be 12, right? So 12 isn't the value I'm looking for, maybe 18. I think 18 looks good. So when we do this, you see that the top left has a border radius of 18. Now we want top right to also have a border radius of 18. Now we want bottom left to also have a border radius of circular of 18. Right, so if I format this well, realize that this is what we have. Now there is no border radius here, but we want to have some small border radius. So you're going to see that the bottom right is going to have not 18, but maybe 4. Let's give us something close to what we have over here. And now the only difference is that this is bold, so probably we can maybe change the font weight over here to font weight dot bold, right? Which gives us almost exactly like we have over here, if not for the color difference of the background, right? So that's what we have, and you can play with the border radius to or the padding to get the right values you want, right? So maybe you can increase the padding, maybe 14, right? Something like this. Now we realize that although we set a maximum width, we still have our container stretching to the full width of our glaze view, right? Which is it's not supposed to happen. So how to fix this? Let's come to this page, and what we want to do is that when the message is from the AI, we want it to go to the left. When the message is from the human, we want it to go to the right, right? We want to align whatever widget that is displaying the message to the right or left based on who produced that message. Instead of just returning text message like this, what we are going to do is we are going to wrap all this check in an align widget. So align, and then the child rather takes this check. Now we can set the alignment based on who sent the message. So if message sender is equal to message sender, and we need to import this, or maybe message sender dot human, then we want to set the alignment to alignment dot maybe to the right, right? So anything that goes to the right, center right, else we are setting the alignment to center left, and that fixes our issue. So we are aligning this widget with the help of the align, and we are checking if the person who sent the message, which is the sender, if it's a human being, all human messages to go to the right, and all responses from the AI should go to the left. Now that's only for the text. So let's go and work on our media message. So before we work on our media message, I want us to consider one little edge case. So if our message is of type text and it was produced by the AI, by default it's going to still have these stylings, right? It's going to be blue, it's going to have this text. We are performing these styles based on the type of the message, not based on who sent it, right? What I mean is, let's say if I go to the messages we have over here, and then I copy and paste this guy over here, and I set the sender to be the bot, and I hot twist that so that I can have the changes. You realize that we still have the same style. So if it is the bot, we still have the same styles, the same color, which is not something we want to have. Also, if we want to do a lot of ternary checks, right? So if we come to maybe the text message, and then we say, hey, if this message is of sender, maybe bot, then the color of the text should be white and the background should be, that's going to be a whole lot of work for us. right? And it makes the code very difficult to maintain, especially if it's a complex project. So what we are going to do is that on our message class itself, we can add getters to this message class, so that based on the type or the sender, we return the most appropriate background color, border radius, text color, everything, just by checking the type. We don't have to do the ternary in our UI. The message by itself knows what background color it should return. It's based on its type. And that's a better way of dealing with this than to have a lot of ternaries within the UI rendering the message itself. So instead of putting it on the message like this, of course you can do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rather create an extension on this message. So if you are new to extensions, it's just a way of adding functionality to a class which you are not, you don't have access to. Basically, that's what you like to do. But then in this case, I want to introduce you guys to extensions as well. So I'm going to create an extension on this message entity. So what I'm going to do is extension, and then we have to give it a name. So extension message extension on message, and then that's how we do extensions. So I just want to extend the functionality of our message class, basically just that. And what I'm going to do is that first I want to have a way of getting the text color, because if you look at the UI, the text color is different. If it is generated by AI, the text color is supposed to be white, the background is supposed to be this kind of like black, right? If it's generated by human, the text color is different, the background is different, which can be a little bit tricky to pull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a getter, just like we would have done on the message itself, right? So I'm going to create a getter called text color. So it's going to return a color, text color, and then which is going to be get text color, and we have to return some kind of a color, right? And I'm going to import this from material. So I'm going to switch on the case of sender. So if the sender is a bot, then the text color should maybe be white. Else, if the sender of this particular text is human, then the text color on top of maybe whatever background should be black. But in this case, I don't want it to be black. I want it to be a color we are familiar with if you've watched this video, which is 232729, right? Which is the color I want to use for this. Basically, it's like the color used on primary, right? So that's what I want the color to be. So let's add another extension for our background color, right? Now, for our background color, we are going to check if the sender of the message is a bot. So if it's a bot, then we can just come and pick the background color over here. So I'm going to pick this background color, 232729, right? So if the message sender is a bot, I want to use this background color. Else, if it is human, I want to use the blue background color. So I can come here and then now finally copy the blue. So blue, yeah, here. Like this for the background color. Now we can just use these two to see how it works. So back to the text message, and instead of using color theme, the color scheme, the primary, no, what we are going to do is that we are going to use message dot, and you see that we have the text color and then the background color as fields on the message, right? So we want to have a background color here, and then we want to also have, instead of this, we want to have text color. So message dot text color, like this, and automatically our code knows how to render the most appropriate message background color and then text color based on who sent that particular message. So right now it's not based on the type of the message, but it's also based on who sent it, right? So we don't even need this team variable any longer. Now the border radius too is something that we have to check, because if we come here, the border radius is a bit different, right? All sides are the same except the bottom left, right? So let's also add that as part of our extension. So over here we are going to create another extension for border radius. So border radius gets maybe border radius, and if our sender is a bot, then we are returning this particular border radius, else we are returning this particular border, which is just a flip of what we have, right? In this particular case, if it is human, we want the bottom right, not the bottom left. We rather want the bottom right, so bottom right to have a value of 4, which is the small portion over here. And if it is a bot, we want the bottom right, and I couldn't spell bottom well, so bottom right to be this, and then we flip it here. So if it is a bot, right, if it's a bot, we rather want all sides to be the same. So top left, top right, top left, top right, bottom right. So top left, top right, bottom right to be 18, and then the bottom left will be 4. Now we can use our border radius. So over here in the text message, instead of having this border radius over here, we can say that we need message.border radius, and it seems like it's changed. So you see over here, the tip is just here, right? All the border radius are the same, it's just a tip, and at the right is the opposite, right? So we have a border radius and then the tip is right here, and it makes our code much cleaner because we don't have to do the checks within the UI itself. It's just an extension on top of the message. Now we can finally go and then look at the media type of message, right? So within this media message, we are not going to return a container because the message starts from here and then ends here. So it is not just the container, but then there is this container aspect, and then the copy, maybe copy, thumbs up, thumbs down, they're all part of the message. So it means we can't just have a container. So we need to have a column with some children, and then the first child will be maybe the container, and then we have a row for the actions. So this is what we are going to have. Now because we are using a column and we still want to have this constraint where the column is not taking more width than it's supposed to, we are going to wrap the column in a constraint box. So wrap it widget and then wrap it with a constraint box, and then set our box constraint over here. So maybe we can create our size variable over here, media query dot size of context, and then it's the same as media query dot of context dot size, right? So in case you can access this for whatever reason, you can use media query dot of context dot size. And then we can see that our constraint is box constraint, which has a max width of size dot width times 0.75. So within the column, we are going to have our container. Now the container is going to contain our image and then our caption, right, for the text. Over here, let's use the container widget, and within this container, we are first going to have some sort of padding, right, because when we need to have space within the container. So I'm going to give it a padding of 12, and when I save, I'm not really going to see anything because there is nothing here. So let's first continue because there is nothing here. So let's add a child for this container, which is going to be a column, and then with children. So within this container, we want to have our image and then our caption. So caption. So with the image, we are going to use image.asset and then pass in our message dot media URL, and over here we know that we are going to have some sort of a media, right? And it's not supposed to be image.asset, it's supposed to be image.network, right? So when we save and hot we start, realize that we have our image over here. Now we can see that the dimension of our image isn't really good, so let's give it some kind of a fixed height. So I'm going to give it a height of 350, and that is going to be the maximum height. And I also want to give it a width of 100%, which is double dot max finite or infinity, right? And then it makes it look a little bit weird, like it's centered. In order to fix this, we are going to use the fit property and set it to box fit dot cover. Now if you look at the original UI, we have some sort of a background, which is this color over here, right? So let's use that background. So within our container, we're going to use a decoration, box decoration, and we need to apply our background color, which is the color property, and set it to message dot background color, right? So when you do this, we see our background color here. Also with the border radius, we can apply our message dot border radius, and this is going to give us this border radius. Now for the image, we need to also have a border radius for the image, and just like what we have over here. And the image widget doesn't have a border radius property on it. So in order to achieve this, there is a widget in Flutter that we can use to round things, which is called clip rect. So clip rect, right? So clip rect has a border radius property and border radius like this, and then we can set it to border radius dot circular and then pass in the value of 12. We are going to have our image rounded. After this, we need to have our text. So I'm going to put our text here, and then I'm going to put message dot text, not text color dot text, like this, right? And this is what we are going to have, right? And we can immediately see that we need some kind of space between the image and then the text. So in order to create that, I'm going to wrap the clip rect with a padding widget and give it a padding only of bottom, and then give it a value of 12. So that's going to create some kind of space for us, and we can remove this text over here. So let's go to our messages and then remove the second message here. Then we can hot restart for the changes, so then we can see exactly what we are building. Now back here for the media message, which is the left side, let's apply some styles to our text. So style, text style, and we want the color to be our message.text color. Also we can change the font weight to be bold, right? So this is what we are going to have. Now the last thing we need for this is a row, right? So we need some kind of a row here to accommodate the 3 buttons. So if you look at the design, realize that we have 3 buttons over here, and we need a row for that. So just outside this container, right, because that's the container we've designed, this container, I'm going to collapse this. We need to have the row for the action. So row, and then we are going to have children, and within this children, and we need to put a comma here, within this children we are going to have our icon button. So icon button, and we are looking for the outline version of the icon button. So we don't want just the default icon button, but then an outline version. And over here I can use icons dot thumb up, and so when I see, we are going to have something like this, which is the first icon, and I can put a comma here, right? So I'm going to duplicate this, and then I have icon dot thumb down, and then copy icon dot copy, yeah, something like that. So these are our icons from the material icons package. And now we need to have some kind of a space between our container and then the row of icons. So we can use a sizer box, but luckily we are in a container, so there is a property called margin, and then that can give us space. So I'm going to use a margin, not all around, but margin of only bottom. It's a value of 12, and I think this should work. Right, now back here, we want to move this guy, which is the copy button, to the last end. We don't want them to be close like this. We can use a widget called spacer. So here, where we want to have the space, just put a spacer widget there, and it's just going to move, create a big space between everything that is to the left and then right. So that's going to create that for us. Now we need to have some kind of small gap between this as well. So I'm going to put a sizer box here and give it a width of maybe 10. And that completes our UI, right? So this is our chat with AI bot page, and we can add more text messages to this for us to see how it renders out. Now if you're interested in me working on any complex project or any project that has both back-end and front-end, you can leave your suggestions at the comment section and I'll take a look at them. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please like, share, and then subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.